Welcome back, Year 7s. Today is the 8th lesson, and we are looking at the differences between punishments set in the Mesopotamian times and punishments set by the Normans. Today's driving question is, how different was the Norman law and order to Hammurabi's code? Now, first up is the knowledge quiz. These are a mixture of revision questions on both Norman and Mesopotamian laws. Pause the video and do the quiz now. Brilliant! Mesopotamians invented writing, and in time it was used to write down laws, and the punishments for breaking them. The earliest set of written laws was drawn up by an Assyrian king, but not all of his laws survived. The first set of laws that has survived was drawn up by the Babylonian king Hammurabi. It is known as Hammurabi's Code. There were 282 laws in Hammurabi's Code. The best known law was an eye for an eye. It said, if a man takes out the eye of another man, his own eye shall be taken out. And this is where the famous phrase, an eye for an eye, comes from. Most of the laws were similar. Like if you break someone's teeth, you have your teeth taken out. Or if you break their bones, your bones are broken in return. Most of these punishments fit the crime or were similar to the crime that had taken place. Now, your first task is to complete these 3 sentence starters. So, what is a law? Laws are important because, and what does an eye for an eye mean? Now, your first task is to complete those sentence starters. Then, looking at the laws we have looked at, or these 2 laws that I have given you here, you're to write down if you think these laws are fair and why. So we've got if anyone is committing a robbery and is caught, they should be put to death. Or we've got if he breaks another man's bones, his bones shall be broken. You could also use the eye for the eye or the teeth law that we have talked about so far. So go and do task 1 on the Google Docs now. Fantastic. Now, a recap on Norman laws. So punishments. Prisons were not used as a punishment. There were a few small jails in castles that some accused people were held until trial. But prisons were too expensive. Instead, there were 3 main punishments used throughout the Middle Ages, as well as the Normans. You had the stocks. People threw rotten food or worse at you. This made you look foolish. Notice the stocks, you are not standing up. A pillory, you're able to stand. You had the fine. For example, you could be fined a week's wages for letting your animals eat others' crops. Hanging. Many people were hanged for stealing clothes or food. Executions took place as a warning to others to obey the law. Trial by ordeal had been used in England for a long time to prove a person's guilt or innocence. Often, a guilty person would confess rather than face the ordeal. You had trial by water, trial by fire, and trial by combat, which was introduced by the Normans. The second task is to match the keywords like constable and match it with the definition, like an official who looked after law and order. Off you go now and do task 2 now. Superb! Now on to the exam question. Today we are looking for differences. So look at today's lesson and think about 2 differences. Like maybe you think Norman punishments are harsher than Mesopotamian. Use the sentence starters on the Google document to write enough for the 4 marks this exam question asks for. Then when you are done, do the exit ticket to show that you have learned during this lesson. Most of the answers are on this video or the tasks, so you can't do the exit ticket without doing the work beforehand. Well done, Year 7s. I'm so proud of the work you are doing, and looking at the work that's being handed in, some of it is of good quality. Keep up this great work, and I'll see you next week where we look at Mesopotamian and Roman religion and how similar they both work. Well done, guys. See you next week.